are welcome to email me about it. We can do math tomorrow. But otherwise, we're probably just going to watch like a documentary or something on YouTube where I've got these riddles that we solve, not Mind Trap. I've got TED Ed riddles that have videos that go along with them. There's a bunch of alternative things we can do. But yeah, I'm running out of those. But the TED Ed riddles are really funny. Well, not funny. They're really like interesting. Because we took down all my posters. So the other thing I was going to say, no, trust me, I know better. So the other thing I was going to say is I apologize for my room feeling like a doctor's office, as somebody just said. Although I think a doctor's office probably has more posters than this. They have like, yeah, they're like, your tibia is the thing that, okay. But, so, sorry, all my posters had to come down this morning, so thank you for people that helped me with it. But we have the test tomorrow. So, after we get past the state test and everything else, and we're like working to end the year strong, we might use this Kate ball like more. It's middle school, so I'm not surprised. But too many people have been like, oh, can I have that? No, it's mine. We're going to play with it later in the year. You can play trash ball with this, and it's really nice and easy. Or, if you're Max Wright, you can try to take my head off with it by throwing it as fast as possible. He's not even in here to appreciate that he about killed me earlier. Brenda. No. So, go ahead and check out this problem on your own. We'll talk about it together in a second. We will move through this packet as quickly as you guys allow us. If we get done with it, then we can do something else.
I realized last night while doing late homework, I am not confident enough on triangles that are not right.
So wrong triangles?
Yes.
What do you mean, triangles that are not right? Like unknown side? Is there a problem in here that like you were looking at that made you concerned about that? Or
this.
Are you saying that because I made this problem really difficult? Or are you saying like what the third side length could be?
These three.
Because I think you treated these like they were right triangles when they don't have to be right triangles.
Exactly, and I don't know enough about these triangles. Like, I just need a reminder.
You do. Yeah, I was about to say you do. You just need a reminder is exactly what I was about to say.
Because
so if we have 8 and 17.
I realized I didn't know how to answer this question.
If this is the 17. Hey, if you're singing or making noises or whatever, please get on task. Brenda's asking me something specific, and then we will come back together to talk about your packet. So, if this is 8, and this is 17, if I lay this down and make it not a triangle, it's not a triangle, but 8, 17, what's the difference here?
8 and 17, 9.
9, so that's not a triangle. If I tilt it up, start making it a triangle, what would happen to that 9? Would it get longer or shorter? So we have to be bigger than 9 to be able to lift up and make a triangle. But if we come all the way out here and add the 8 and the 17, it's not a triangle, right? If it's a straight line, it's not a triangle. But what's that sum? 17 plus 8? 25, but that's not a triangle. So if I tilt it back up, would that 25 get smaller or bigger? Smaller. So we need to be smaller than 25.
But more than 9.
But more than 9. So any number between there. Literally. And that's what we do for any non-right triangle is subtract them to find the boundary point on the bottom, add them to find the boundary point on the upper end. And then you got to be between those two boundary points.
I didn't learn that.
I thought I taught it to you. Pretty sure I did because I put it on your test.
Oh.
It's called the triangle inequality theorem.
Then I didn't pay attention to it.
Yep, that's what it is. There's the truth.
We need to take down posters. I wanted to help with that.
We just did it during AO this morning because I realized extensions was going to be too crazy and you guys have sports and everything, so
That's
sorry.
true.
I also didn't want to take class time, so I want to get done with this and then be able to show you guys some YouTube
Can I
videos or
put them
whatever.
back up then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I actually might have you guys make some posters for me. So we might take a couple days where like you design your own like a poster about the giant one or a poster about measuring in Brenda's or you know.
You still have to do that calendar though.
I think with how you guys are like good at Photoshop and stuff, we could do a lot. Like beyond the I don't know where I said it now, but beyond the calendar thing, I think we could do a lot.
You should trademark it and then sell it. As quotes of Hudson's class.
Yes.
I have a giant poster board I can bring in. Because I don't use it
Chat with me before you do that, because we have some stuff around school. I don't want you to have to use up your materials if you don't need to. So you're saying you want rid of your junk, and you want me to take it? Jordan was ready. All right. MNO is in quadrant 3. Now, as a reminder, hey, let's bring it together now. You had like 10 minutes on your own, pretty much, aside from me talking to random people. This, where everything is positive, is always quadrant 1. And we go counterclockwise. So you probably won't need to have this memorized for this test. But quadrant 1, then quadrant 2, this normally throws people off because you're going counterclockwise. Then quadrant 3 down here, quadrant 4 down here. So if we, just math decided to make it that way. And actually, this is the positive direction of rotation. So if you are positively rotating, technically you are supposed to be going counterclockwise. I know, it's broken. It's messed up. Okay, moving on. So if MNO is here, then the triangle is reflected across the x-axis. Guys, be careful. The x-axis is right here. So when we reflect across that axis, my triangle comes up into quadrant 2. Then the triangle is dilated by a factor of 1/3 about point M to create PQR. So I would have had to assign these points, but let's look at what it's asking. Which statement is true about triangle PQR, our new triangle? So, what does congruent mean?
Different?
What's con mean? Together, or like with, right? So, congruent, together, they're exactly the same. Congruent means they are the same size, the same shape, like same side lengths. So if I dilate by a scale factor of 1/3, will my triangle be the same? No. So A is out. We are not congruent. B is out also, because it's not congruent. Wait. PQR is congruent to triangle MNO and is in quadrant 4. No, that is totally wrong. PQR is congruent to triangle MNO and is in quadrant 2. It is not congruent, right? Because we dilate to create PQR. Similar means same shape, different size. So every circle is similar to every other circle because circles are perfect. But triangles, rectangles, any other shapes, we have to meet certain criteria, like a new side length is 1/3 the original side length. So one of these is going to be right. Triangle PQR is similar to triangle MNO and in quadrant 4? No. That would be if we reflected the y-axis, so this is D here. Questions on that one?
Well, it's not really a question, but why does this thing have to like is in quadrant 4 and then it's just in and in?
Yeah, I can't defend their words. I can't defend their grammar. My bad. Like, my apologies. Hi. I was gonna try to make some joke about them hating you, but okay. What about why?
So
Can we maybe address this in a little bit after we like get through the packet with everyone? Because this is kind of awkward right now.
Yeah.
You're just like, hey, everybody just hang out for a minute while I ask my question.
Can we give an hour every 10?
This graph models the amount of money Haley is paid Y in dollars. Estimate Haley's hourly pay. That shouldn't be that terrible, but this point isn't fantastic. Where's a nicer point?
You have the graph.
They are very, very.
What?
Wait, there's not. Look. Oh, it is there. It's just right there.
Oh, it's because on the copies the grid lines kind of disappeared. Right here is the point of 5 hours and $60. Right? That's 5 hours and $60. So if you get paid $60 in 5 hours, ooh, careful with that J word.
You got it wrong.
Jake inhaled his mask.
I didn't have my gum.
And we get $12 per 1 hour. That is more than I ever made as a kid. But hopefully you guys will get paid something close to that, if not more. Questions on this? And of course on the computer, you'll be able to see the grid lines. This is another reason we don't do paper pencil tests anymore, is there's just issues with copies and stuff like that.
My mom actually did give me that much money.
Remember when we got
12?
to do that
12
one
ain't
on
bad.
the-
Yeah, and I did work in 5 hours. That basically my mom should say that one day.
Take a moment to try this one on your own.
Mr. President, I didn't get paid. I didn't get paid that much, but I did get dinner.
Hey man, depending on what you ate for dinner, that might be better than getting paid.
Honestly, yes. Right, I'm fucking good taco.
What would be the first thing we do here? Not Chubby Bunny, actually. Lily? Distribute. So if I was you, I would be drawing the arrows. Guys, everyone will have paper pencil tomorrow. Please write your work down. Go back and check your answers. Right? Please write stuff down, because this would just be on the computer screen. You would need to copy this down to actually then do the work. What's 3 times 2x?
6x.
3 times 2?
6.
What things on the left side can be combined?
6x and 3x.
Oh, wait a minute. Are the answers that we have given all simplified with like terms combined? No. They literally only did the first step, and now that answer is one of these. It's D.
Yay.
Now, hold up. Hold up. Talk about the next problem with your team. Be careful. It is square root 8 plus square root something equals between 4 and 5. So yeah, you guys get a calculator for both days. So those of you who immediately figure out, well, what is square root 8? Probably a pretty good idea.
You can add radicals?
I mean, even if we can't add the radicals, could we take the square root and then add them?
No.
Yes. Yes.
I
it is.
refuse to say it's possible. I'm a concrete mind. It doesn't change.
Trapdoor! And there's like a pit of snakes and spikes. This is not what we're doing. This was allowed to happen when we had multiplication. Either under a radical, we could split up into 2 different radicals, or if we had multiplication between 2 radicals, we could put them together. That does not work the same when we're talking about addition. So my advice for a problem like this, because you're going to have your calculator, is do square root 8. Figure out what that is, and it's about 2.82. Oh yeah, 3 if we round. Thank you for the catch. Plus, all right, well, guys, the value of the expression, when we add these up, we want to be between 4 and 5. Do I know a nice radical number that will, Amelia? Yeah, if we make x 4, and this becomes the square root of 4, what's the square root of 4? 2. And 2.8 plus 2 will equal 4.83. But, hold up. Watch. This is not the same. If I try to add my 8 and 4 and then square root that, it is not the same. It does not work like the multiplication trick. So you cannot, this is not the same. Sorry, it'd be square root 12 and it'd be even smaller. Sorry, I can't add today apparently. Be even smaller. So square root of 8, square root of 4, we do separately and then add them up. So here x could be 4, but do not get mixed up and try to put them together. Because, guys, I can use my calculator to type in square root of 8, then bump over, plus square root of 4, bump over, equals. Now I've got my accurate answer. But that is different than the square root of 12, because it doesn't work like that. Now, if I do the same thing, but I do multiplication instead, that will work. What's 8 times 4?
32.
Multiplication works to break it up or put it together. Addition does not. You will get different answers. So guys, do your radical first, then do your addition. Gus?
What happens if you take the radical 8 plus radical 4, and then you find the answer, and then you square the answer? What does it make?
Some number squared. Yeah, nothing, like, there's no trick or anything fancy there. It's just that number squared. So it times itself, right? 4.83 times 4.83 approximately. All right, so avoid that trapdoor there. Go ahead and read about Steve and Mark. Take a moment, which means you don't need to talk to each other. You could highlight if you grabbed highlighters like you know you should. Yeah, that's fine. It's just not as nice of a number, but I think it also works. You'd still be fine. So check it. Anna's being stressed out. So this problem. Crap, I got to scroll even further. This problem. A possible answer that'll get you a point is 4. But really, go. All right, well, they're not going to give me the range. There's a range of answers that are acceptable. So, down here. Between 2 and 3, between radical 4 and radical 9. So yeah, as long as you're in between, any value that works will get you your point. So as long as the math works, it doesn't have to be 4, as long as the math works out. So you're 4.5, the math works out. Yeah. Yep. If the math works, you get your points. What does T represent here? Time in seconds, right? So if we were going to set up Stephen's equation, Stephen starts with how much? 8. And then adds how much? 2 every second. Oh, wait, we should probably say T since we said T is time. Sorry, I said T for time. So wait, if I look at Mark's bucket, how much does Mark start with? 1, and how fast does he fill? 8 cups per minute. Sorry, second. Oh my gosh. We hardly ever do second math. That's where I'm getting goofed up. So who's faster, Mark or Steven?
Mark.
Mark is filling faster. So same rate, throw that out. Mark begins with more cups of water. That's not true. Mark begins with the same amount. That's not true. C is the only possible answer.
It's 8 cups per second. I thought it takes him 8 seconds per
Nope, 8 cups per second. Yep, because T is how many seconds we have plugged in. Questions.
I did math. It looks like it's 8 cups per second. 'Cause
That's
8
what it
seconds.
is. This is 8 cups per every second.
Oh.
8 times T. If we plug in like 5 seconds for T, it would do 8 times 5. We'd get 40. So in 5 seconds, he could do 40. He's got really fast flow. Like his water, whatever he's filling with, is a lot of water really fast. 8 cups every second. That's a good amount.
That's impossible.
Sounds like a huge, like,
No.
Colin, you're right back there?
You have to be really strong.
Sure? All right. Your computer's open and you seem off task, so you must be confident and ready for the test. Penny has a pool in the shape of a trapezoid ABCD as shown with lengths in feet.
Immediate denial.
Ben has an identical pool. Identical. Congruent. But he rotated. So what would be the side length of EF? Yeah, it would relate to AB. Whoa, that's like saying the E word.
Simple. That's cool.
That is not supposed to be.
It's like that's like saying crap.
Just say not. Just say not.
But people don't say that crap is a bad word. Say not.
I'm not gonna say.
Like we don't say that duty's a bad word.
Yeah. It's always like saying duty compared to the S word.
What, shenanigans?
No.
Sauerkraut? All right, a runner, by the way, my new mic is even better than the old mic was. A runner tracks his distance in miles. Y, so the miles is going to be Y. Guys, this is the stuff that I would highlight on your test to pay attention. They're not using nice variables. Y is the miles, right?
I don't know.
X is the hours. X is the hours, Y is the miles. Yo, you're not helping. We need to get done with this. So, if X is hours, it's 8.2 times the number of hours will get you your Y. So to figure out Y, we do that multiplication, and what this 8.2 actually represents. Max, you want to make a guess on this?
Why is that pie so cold?
Nope, we are moving on. So the 8.2, Grant,
The speed.
his speed and how many miles he travels every 1 hour. So the runner's average speed, total time, total distance, distance traveled by the runner at any time. It is average speed.
Wouldn't it be opposite?
Now, Gus, I don't know how fast you run, but that's fast to me.
Yeah, that is fast.
If you're running at 8.2 miles per hour, that's pretty fast. So no one needs your judgment. So oh, he's slow.
They probably drink gasoline.
that's actually
Jordan, I did. It's the same version but new, and so what that means is it hasn't been like banged around or damaged at all. There are 3 pickup receivers inside this mic, and that's also why it actually works best straight up. You don't talk into this sort of mic; it picks you up from the side. As opposed to the mics out there, you talk into the top because the receiver only goes one direction. This is omnidirectional, so it picks up everything. Yeah, it's fancy. Jake.
I thought it'd be like 8.2 hours for 1 mile.
So, guys, bring it together. This is why we're discussing these problems. Max, quit distracting your group. So if X is the amount of hours, the amount of hours would plug into the X. So let's say we do this for 3 hours. They told us X is hours. So when I do that multiplication, they told us Y is number of miles. So what I would get here for Y equals would be 24.6. and that is miles in the 3 hours he traveled. That 8.2 is our speed, because it is calculating how many hours will get us how many miles. It's how many miles we will get after a certain amount of hours. Now you're just creeping people out, bro.
No, he's zoned out.
Ooh, Max, here's one that we were just doing earlier. Figure out where the mistake takes place.
Wait, which Max were you talking to?
I think just Max, right? Well, I don't know. Did we do problems like this earlier? I don't think so. You and I, not that Max and I. So what do negative powers do to us, or tell us to do? Not, guys, this is the biggest mistake I keep seeing people do. This is not scientific notation. This is not times 10 to a negative power. That is different. Just a negative power, no times 10. Guys, I'm not saying just like easy. I'm saying no times 10. It is 25 to the negative power. That negative power is telling us to actually divide, or the other thing we're allowed to do is essentially say flip it to the other part of the fraction. So what happens here in the work that I want you to write out, and I got to pull us back together because we're getting a little too like loosey-goosey here, is this 25 to the negative fourth should actually go into the denominator and be 25 to the fourth. But at the same time, like maybe I should write out the in-between step. I'm probably going too fast.
What?
All right. Stop with the side comments. Stop with the goofy, like what, who, where. Just listen for a minute. Okay, then if it doesn't make sense, let's talk. I'm going to follow their process step by step so we can investigate for the mistake. Because the process I was about to take is my process, but not what they did. Like, different ways to get to Florida, right? So, 25, is it true that 25 is 5 squared? Yes. So what they did from step 1 to step 2 is they turned 25 into 5 squared and just substituted. So I do not believe they made a mistake because that's the only thing they did. Then, when we have a power raised to a power, how do we combine a power raised to a power? Anna? We multiply. So from here to there, we should be doing 5 to the 2 times negative 4. And in the denominator, we should be doing 5 to the negative 2 times 2. Is that what they did?
No.
No. Womp womp. So this would become 5 to the negative 8 over 5 to the negative 4. And that is definitely not what they get. So their mistake happens between step 2 and step 3 because they accidentally add those powers together instead of multiplying them. Lily. Sure, but because here we're looking for a mistake in somebody else's work, we kind of have to follow their roadmap and see where they took the wrong turn. But yeah, you can go ahead and tell us whatever you want. So if we didn't read over here, what the question's actually asking us is between what steps. So when you would click on this drop-down arrow, it would say between steps 1 and 2, or steps 2 and 3, or 3 and 4, or 5 and 6, or like, so where our error happens is between step 2 to step 3, because step 3 is wrong. So on our way from step 2 to step 3, this is wrong. Step 3 is wrong. So our mistake happened between 2 and 3. But then, we're not done. Because we don't just need to find the mistake, we need to figure out what it actually is. Guys, here's the trick with the negative powers. and we've talked about this, but not enough, so I need you listening. A negative power can say a lot of things, and really what it tells us to do is divide. But when I have multiple negative powers, here's the easiest way to think about it. The negative power throws that value to the other part of the fraction. So this becomes 5 to the positive 8, because the negative said, hey, actually, I want to go to the other part of the fraction. And the 5 to the negative 4 from the bottom comes up and becomes 5 to the positive 4. This, guys, you might want to write this down because we haven't practiced this a ton. That fraction becomes this fraction. It would stay there. Yeah, if this 4 was positive, it would stay. Huh? It would still go down to the bottom, and we'd end up with just a 1 on top. Because if everything disappears off the top, we just have a 1 up there.
So if it's negative, you can switch it.
When it's a negative, we switch it to the other part of the fraction. And if it's not a fraction, make it a fraction. Right? Put it over 1, make it a fraction. So another example that you could write down is like 3 to the negative 2 is really 1 over 3 to the 2, which is really 1 over 9. That's what negative powers do to us. However, if the negative power starts on bottom, then it comes up to the top. So here it started on top. Yeah, it says, like, put me in the other part of this problem. Because instead of multiplying, it's dividing. Or instead of dividing, it's multiplying. Like, it's saying, do the other thing. So, then, we got to come back here. 5 to the 4th over 5 to the 8th. When you have a power divided by another power, how do we combine these? Minus. We subtract. Sorry, you could have shouted it out, bud. So this is going to become, well, or I could reduce out. This could become 1 over 5 to the 4th. Because I could cancel out 4 of these. Or if we do the subtraction, it's 5 to the negative 4th. So 4 minus 8, right? 4 minus 8 would get me negative 4.
How do you write that on the test?
Well, look at what it asks us. What is the value of the thing they started with?
How would you write it?
So I would leave it in this 1 over 5 to the 4th form. I would leave it in this form. But what is 5 to the 4th? Grab your calculator. 5 to the 4th. 625. So this would really be 1 over 625. Use the caret.
Or you could do negative.
So remember, use the caret for power.
Couldn't it also be negative 625?
No. So remember, the negative power does not make the number negative.
Yeah.
It is saying, I actually want to divide instead of multiply. That's what this negative power is telling us.
Make it 0.000005.
No. You're acting like it's scientific notation again.
Oh my.
You are not listening, Jake. This is not scientific notation. We are not moving decimals. This is not. This is just powers. Okay, are you on the same page as me now or no?
Yeah.
1 over 625 would be 0.0005.
I don't think so. No, it's 0.0016. This has nothing to do with scientific notation. It does not move the decimal. You do not, like, there's no times 10 involved. This is not scientific notation. This is why I wanted to review this stuff, because there are still some of us who are mixing up. And actually, there are people in this room that owe me masteries right now, that have progressings for me. I haven't put Chapter 9 in map yet, because I was trying to, like, take some stress off of you guys. But if you're ignoring your Chapter 9 revisions, what gives? Like, you got work to do. So the fact that some of you won't do it till it's in map is just disappointing. This is where we talked about this in class, where your calculator lies to you. if I just do square root of 16 in my calculator, if I do square root 16, it gives me one answer. It's not the only answer. What other number could I square to get 16, Anna? Negative 4. So positive 4 works here. Negative 4 works here. Try this triangle problem on your own. I do still have a couple more. Anyone able to tell me what this angle right in here would be? 50, because they are vertical. So then what's the question mark angle? 40, because the triangle adds up to 180 degrees. So the question mark would be 40 degrees. Flip.
Did we do the chapter 2 mastery yet?
Chapter 10? No, we skipped it because we had no time. Chapter 9 was the last mastery you took from me.
That's what I thought. Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome. Linear means it makes a straight line. What can I throw away right now? D. We can throw away D. This is not a straight line. Bye-bye.
We can also throw away A because generally speaking, that's square or square root. It's probably not.
Not just generally speaking, but always. If it has a square or a square root, it is not linear. So A can also be thrown away because like Lily said, that x squared, that actually makes it what we call a quadratic. It's a parabola. This is where we would apply negative b plus or minus the square. Yeah, that's where. Now, hold up. How do we then pick between B and C? Ooh, Patrick hasn't done anything yet. We don't have to. We could, but we don't have to. Renault? What is y going up by here? What is x going up by?
3.
Do it again. What is y going up by?
2.
What is x going up by?
3.
Hey, this one works. C uses the same y twice. But guys, you're mixing up using the same x twice. So this is allowed to use the same y twice because they have two different x's. But what happens here is the line goes down and then it goes back up. So if we tried to graph this, this line would look like, it would look like that. Yeah. This is actually what we call an absolute value function, but you guys don't know about that yet. It's because it makes everything positive, right? Yep. So this is a modified absolute value function, though, because it doesn't hit at 0, 0. So obviously somebody has pushed it up. Something has happened to it. Now, scientific notation. From the decimal point where it would be, how many places has it moved? 4. From where the decimal would be, it moved 4 places left, which means that needs to do times 10 to the negative 4th. It is B. All right, have a great day, friends. Get out of here. Nah, you can hang on to it.